Hello and welcome to Student of the Gun Homeroom. I am your favorite professor, Paul Markel, and let's take a moment to talk about what exactly that means. Now, right now in the world, we have the internet, and the internet is a wonderful tool that we can use to access information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, instantly, and that's a good thing. The downside of that is, thanks to YouTube and other channels and the access to the internet, we have a situation where we have 10,000 experts right now. And a lot of people, if you're a new gun owner, or even if you've had guns for a while, or you're interested in personal protection or self-defense or what have you, and you've researched and found this video or found Student of the Gun Homeroom, you might be thinking, well, why should I listen to this guy? Good question. When I first started writing, I started writing professionally 20 years ago. That was the first time I actually got paid for my words. And after about 5-10 years, I'd be working on an article, and I'd think to myself, sometimes I stop and I think, do I really need to make this point again? I've made this point, this whatever point I'm working on, in print, 10 times before, 7 times before, whatever. And I talked to a fellow writer, and he said, Paul, don't forget, he said, every single day, every week, every month, every year, new people are picking up these gun magazines and reading them for the very first time. And you've got a brand new audience every month, every year, every week, what have you. And that's a similar situation right now. Would be easy for me to fall into a trap and assume that because I've been doing this professionally, I've been writing professionally for 20 years. I host this show called Student of the Gun. Student of the Gun's been on Dish and Direct. It was on Pursuit Channel. It was on Sportsman's Channel. Right now you can watch each and every new episode of Student of the Gun by just going to studentofthegun.com. So it'd be easy to think, well, when you tune in, you already know who Paul Markel is, and so you should listen to what I have to say. But what I'm going to do is, if you never have, or you're scratching your head and you're like, well, why should I listen to this guy? I'll give you a quick, low down and dirty breakdown of who is Paul Markel and why should I listen to this guy as opposed to somebody else. I took my first professional firearms training course, a 40-hour pistol course from John Farnham in 1986. I was only 19 years old at the time, so you can do the math. After that, I joined the Marine Corps. I served in the United States Marines for 4 years active duty. When Desert Storm came around, I was deployed with 1st Battalion, 6 Marines. 1st Battalion, 6 Marines was the tip of the spear, and I saw combat with that organization. I also learned what it was like to lose a friend in combat at that time. After I got out of the active duty Marine Corps, I became a police officer. Went through the police academy, had lots of good training from my instructor, Doug Hunter. Doug, if you're watching this, thank you very much. Doug gave me some fantastic training when I was in the academy. Became a certified Ohio police officer, and very soon realized that, like myself, there were thousands upon thousands of recently discharged veterans who'd gone to the academy and wanted to become cops. Well, I got a part-time cop job and realized I wasn't going to make any money at it. Or very little money, and so I started freelancing as a professional bodyguard. And I worked as a professional bodyguard for about 13-14 years before I became a professional firearms instructor full-time. Now, I'd been working as an instructor on and off as a part-time basis for 20 years. I first went through the U.S. Marine Corps Rifle and Pistol Marksmanship Coaches School back when I was stationed at Camp Lejeune, and that was actually the beginning of my formal training as an instructor. And I've had several other instructor training courses since then, and over the last 20 years I've had thousands upon thousands, 10,000 plus students, whether they're military, law enforcement, adult civilians, or young people. I work with the 4-H shooting sports program as well, and have for the last 12 to 13 years. Now, like I said, one of the last things I did as a professional instructor, I worked full-time for the United States military as a civilian contractor. That's right, an evil civilian contractor. And taught small arms and tactics to military troops prior to the deployment overseas. In the last 5 years, I've probably trained 6,000 to 7,000 troops before they deployed overseas. And in addition to all that jazz, I've been writing articles, producing videos, shows, doing TV shows, writing books, and what have you. So there's my resume, folks. You can either like it or not. But and if you're asking, if you're sitting out there like, well, why should I listen to this guy's advice? Good question. Good question. When it comes to who am I going to train with, whose books am I going to buy, whose DVDs am I going to watch, it's legitimate. You should say, hey, what's this guy's background? How long has he been teaching? Who has he taught? Has he ever been paid to teach people? Has anyone ever paid for this guy's words? Anyone with a microphone can get on YouTube or a camera. Yeah, and the old axiom for professional writers is owning a pen does not make you an author. And I guess owning a microphone does not make you a professional speaker, and owning a camera does not make you a professional actor or instructor. So if you're asking questions like that, good. You should be asking the questions, and then once you've satisfied yourself that, well, maybe this guy's worth the $15 to invest in the book or the DVD or whatever, drive on. Now, speaking of books, I've got some recommended reading for you guys today. I did not forget about that. And I've recommended it before, but I also realize that there's probably several thousand more people watching these now, the homerooms, than there were, 2-3 months ago. So if you're very, very interested in training, and if you're serious about training, you need to read this book. That's right. It is the Book of 5 Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. Now, it's not in Japanese. It was translated by Stephen F. Kaufman. And if you research the Book of 5 Rings, you'll find a lot of different versions of it. But the Kaufman book is my favorite. It's not a long read. It's only about, let me see, it's only just a little over 100 pages. But this is a book that once you read it, you finish it, set it down, pick it up in 2 weeks or a month and reread it, and your eyes are going to be open. You're like, wow, I didn't even catch that part the first time through. Book of 5 Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, translated by Stephen Kaufman. It's very well worth the read. We'll put the Amazon link up for you guys who are watching this on Student of the Gun Homeroom. So, for all things Student of the Gun, where are you going to go? You're going to go to studentofthegun.com.